to a baby boy with a much darker complexion.
My son's skin tone didn't match mine, but he was still my son.
Christina Murray was finally living her lifelong dream of being a mother.
He was beautiful and perfect, but it was also very clear that something was wrong.
After a grueling round of IVF and 9 months of pregnancy, Mari, a white woman using a white sperm donor, gave birth in late 2023 to a baby boy with a much darker complexion.
My son's skin tone didn't match mine, but he was still my son.
What should have been a joyful first month bonding with her son, who she loved and wanted to raise, was punctuated by constant fear and uncertainty.
I didn't know whether it was a sperm mix-up or whether he was someone else's.
Murray took a DNA test that confirmed her baby wasn't hers biologically. The clinic she'd used, Coastal Fertility Specialists, eventually determined that they'd mistakenly implanted another couple's embryo in Murray. The biological parents sued her for custody, and Murray chose to give the baby she loved up to them rather than fight.
And I walked out of the building with an empty stroller, and they left with my son.
And what was it like going home alone?
Probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Murray now suing the clinic, which said in a statement to NBC News that it deeply regrets the error, calling it an isolated event with no further patients affected. The clinic also saying it's since conducted an in-depth review and put additional safeguards in place. Her story is rare but not unprecedented in the world of fertility treatment, which experts say is largely unregulated.
There's no reliable data or disclosures about how often IVF goes unjustifiably wrong. The U.S. regulates assisted reproduction far more lightly than other developed countries.
Even after the trauma of the last year and the legal process ahead, Christina, who's 38 and single, isn't giving up on her hopes of one day becoming a mother.
I have started the process over again with another clinic, and I'm hopeful that in the next year or two I can try again.
It's just heartbreaking, Priya. So what does the road look like for her going forward?
Yeah, so Christina's attorney has told me that he has successfully represented about 1,000 fertility patients against their clinics across the country over the last 10 years in a variety of misconduct cases, including ones like this that involve embryo mix-ups, but also in cases involving freezer malfunctions that have resulted in embryos or eggs being completely destroyed. He even represented another California case that was quite unbelievable. You guys may have heard about it, involving two couples that in another fertility clinic mix-up ended up having each other's biological children, raised them unknowingly for a few months until they discovered it, and then they ended up swapping the infants back. And by the way, a lot of you are wondering what happened to Christina's embryos. I asked her about that, and she said that she's not sure if they're being frozen and stored in that fertility clinic or if perhaps they've been transferred to another patient, Savannah.
Wow. Well, that is just terrible. Priya, thank you for your story. Appreciate it. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah. A mix-up's when you grab somebody's phone accidentally. Yeah. This is just unbelievable.
No, and then the fact that she may have embryos that are her embryos and she does not know where they are right now.
To give back your baby. It just breaks your heart. Crazy story, guys.
Hakeem, your thoughts on that? That's a crazy story.
This is a touchy subject because I know people, and I'm not going to get in depth, who has done in vitro fertilization. It's a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing, especially for women. And for that to happen, and then for her to go through that whole 9 months bonding with the child and then having to give the child away. I love the fact when she say, the child didn't look like me, but it still was my child. You could tell that that was a mother by nature. So I'm sitting there hearing, I was a little bit hurt to hear that. Everybody wants to be a parent one day. Me, you, a lot of y'all. So I just pray for her, and I hope she be able to have another child. And I hope that the other family would allow her to maybe see the kid one day, because that's a lot of work birthing that child.
I already know, and taking care of that child and then give birth. But she thought it was her. That's the whole point. But it was a mess up. So what happened to her embryo?
They don't even know.
They don't even know.
Yeah.
So she could probably have kids out here. She don't even know.
Yeah.
That's the crazy. That is one of the craziest stories I ever seen this year. I think that's the craziest story. I ever seen this year. That is crazy. I couldn't believe it. Oh man. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Don't forget to hit